Hi, this is Ini,
Hey, this is Nangah.
and welcome to Our Take. Hey guys, so today on Our Take, we will be covering cultural appropriation. Now, you may be wondering, what is cultural appropriation? According to PBS, cultural appropriation is when an element of culture is adopted from a marginalized group without respect for its cultural meaning or significance, or with the purpose of exploiting the culture for economic or social gain. So if you're taking some elements of a culture and you're doing it to like as a trend, or you're doing it to make money, or you're just doing it without caring like what its original meaning is, that's all cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
So some examples of cultural appropriation. Nanga, do you want to give us an example?
Sure. So some examples are, when you have people wearing Native American, headgear and, with the dream catchers or whatever for, Halloween. There is, please give me the name before I butcher it, the
Vietnamese Ao Dai, yeah.
The Vietnamese Ao Dai, when people wear that for like, a fashion statement, or they tend to make it shorter to, have this sexy little dress when it's supposed to be a part of Vietnamese culture. Dress has significance. You also have people wearing Black protective hairstyles for fashion statements also. And yeah, it can just be very, very hard for people with the culture to see people culture appropriate their own culture and not know the significance behind it, because a lot of these things that people do tend to make profit off of have deeper meaning than just something that looks cool.
And we see this problem a lot in America, actually. It's kind of increasing around the world as people travel to new places and culture kind of gets spread and blah, blah, blah. But we see this problem, especially in America, because of all the people, immigrants we have over here. Mm-hmm. And, when people immigrate to a new country, their culture that they've had before is still a huge part of their identity. And when we move to another country, we don't want to lose who we are.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose our culture in this so-called
melting pot.
Melting pot, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very harmful, especially from an African American, a Black perspective. Protective styles such as intricate cornrows, box braids, and everything, those originated in Africa. So when protective styles such as intricate cornrows and box braids and weaves and attachments and stuff like that, it's at first it was used as kind of an indicator of status back in Africa, and for African tribes and stuff. And when the slave trade happened, I think it was people were using it to try to keep it alive. I believe people try to use that as like ways of telling escape routes.
Ways of carrying like grains of rice and all that for survival. It was a survival thing.
Yeah, and but it's still like either outside of survival, it's a very rich part of Black culture in general, because the way it's spread across the African diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
So when people who aren't Black start sporting those things and start wearing it, it's like, okay, like you're not Black,
Yeah.
There's no reason like you should be wearing it. Like
Because
If you
it's a protective hairstyle, but it only works if your hair needs to be protected.
right,
And people with, straight, thin hair, or just straight, or not just straight hair, but like, people that don't have those curly genetics. I'll even say people with straight hair, because there are Black people that can have straight hair, but even then, it's just like, one, your hair isn't it's not strong enough to handle the amount of pressure that goes into braids, because
right,
braids really take your hair out. And I know people were like, yeah, well, she put in braids, but her hair didn't fall out. That's because she didn't use it as a protective hairstyle. She used it as a fashion statement that lasts for a day. People fail to understand that when Black people use protective hairstyles, we're using these for like more than a week. We use it for like months or 2 months or whatever, because
right.
like I said, it's supposed to protect your hair. And it's supposed to just, for it to be easier to just put some oils in your scalp or whatever. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, so it's like when people with straight hair, it's relatively easier to, or they're more accustomed to managing their hair
Yeah.
than people with kinkier textures or curlier textured hair. So when they're wearing protective styles, it's like, what are you wearing it for?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like your hair needs that protection, such as Black hair typically does.
Yeah.
Neither is it an expression of culture. So it's a bit baffling to see people wear it.
Yeah, and like the whole I touched on this before, with like the whole Halloween costumes with culture, like whether that be Asian and they have like the rice like hat, or they have the Native American garments, or they have whatever thing or whatever. It's just like, why? Like you could have been anything that you could have been like a nurse, you could have been a scarecrow, but like why did you have to like pick something that wasn't meant for you? And why are those even costumes to begin with in the first place? That's a puzzling question that I've been meaning to ask.
What's scary about it? What's funny about it,
There's nothing entertaining about, wearing that. Like it has meaning to it. Wearing like any of that cultural garment, it's just like, for what?
Right. It really helps maintain, or it's a display of stereotypes that certain people have.
Yeah, and like with that, people get so lost in these stereotypes that they forget to ask themselves, what is the actual meaning behind this culture, instead of just believing the stereotypes that, to be honest with you, capitalism brings when they put these, outfits on display at whatever store. It's just like, you have to know that people wear these things not for fun, but for a meaning. Like, you wouldn't just wear this outside, or you wouldn't just wear this to a fun thing. Like, there's actually places to be wearing these things to. I don't think people understand that. And then they're like, they get mad when someone calls them out on it, because it's just like, my body, my choice. But this is not like
someone else's culture. That's not your culture.
That's just, it doesn't matter if it's your body, your choice. Like, you can wear anything you wanted to, but you decided to pick a cultural significance to somebody else.
Yeah.
So it really just pisses me off. But like, it happens so much. Like I'm not gonna talk too much about it. Like, even like the K-pop thing, where they use religion, like they use Hinduism or Buddhism in their like music videos or whatever, and it just happens so much. It's just like, at this point, I hate to see it, but I'm tired of speaking on it. So if you're not gonna learn about anyone's culture, then I guess that's on you. But you just look really stupid.
Yeah, and you see it a lot. I think like people are more, I guess people are policing it better now, but
but it still happens.
Yeah, like it was more like rampant in like in the 90s, or especially like early K-pop or so like you'd see.
Oh, early K-pop was just Black. I mean, it's really nothing but Black people speaking Korean. Like, it really is what it is.
Because like, I don't know, if you'd see, I don't know, I think Fergie or whatever would wear cornrows, like everyone, like everyone was just wearing, using Black culture for aesthetics and so, or even Vietnamese culture. So, but I think people are more worried about it now. But I feel like people get offended that they can't do
For
this.
calling them out. It's just like, yeah, because people are actually offended as they should. You're offended because you can't wear your little cute dress. People are offended because you're wearing something that actually means something. And you're wearing these things not knowing like, or doing these things not knowing like, what if you're actually like hailing spirits at your house? Like, like you don't know what this is for. Like, I see people do like Native American rituals. I'm just like, what if you guys are like,
Yeah. And,
like.
Yeah. And it's like, people are like, I understand the culture, so I can wear it, blah, 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 blah. But it's like,
Really? Doesn't work like that.
the thing about it's like, you don't even know if you're gonna like this culture forever, right? Let's just put it in that way. Like, you don't know you're gonna like this culture forever. It might, in retrospect, it might end up just being a trend for you or a phase for you. So, but for the people who, for like, if it's my culture, that's not a phase for me,
Right.
It's literally me. Like, that's a part of who I am.
It's your reality.
Yeah, that's my reality. And you're just using it like, that was a phase. I went through a phase where I like to wear box braids and so, but I'm over it now. I'm proper now. Like, no.
I'm proper.
Yeah, so it's like, no.
It's so annoying. Like, back to like the box braid things. Like, there's people that lose their jobs over box braids, and you're just here like, it was a phase. I'm like, not for me, was it? Like,
right. That was my life. Like, what was up with that? And people like to debate on appreciation versus appropriation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some things that you can appreciate, but you have to appreciate them from afar. Like,
and the example I always bring up, or other people always bring up, is how Michael Jackson did his little black or white thing. Not once in that music video did he wear anyone's other culture.
That's so true.
He literally wore a white shirt with black pants, and he just let other people express themselves with their culture. Like, not once did he wear anything else. I'm just like, see, this is what it is. Like, this is what I like to see.
Right. And I feel like people don't understand that when you get to the point of appreciating other people's cultures, cultural appreciation is not about taking other people's cultures and then incorporating it into your life. Is appreciating those differences that we have and embracing those differences and be like, I like that about you. I think that's really cool about you, but you don't have to make it about yourself,
Right. Yeah, that's like the example that like people always use. Not like that example because it really he really did that. Yeah.
So that's all we have for today about cultural appropriation.
Yep. Okay, guys, that's it for our talk about cultural appropriation. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode and got something out of it. Join us next week where we'll be talking about college, the dread, a hoax. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you next week.
Bye.